drop your bag on the floor, my mom and dad will get them.
Are we the hell?
Worse, we're parents.
And audio coverage is so dope, man. I imagine 10 years ago this would look very different.
Very much so.
Yeah. How y'all doing though?
I'm great. Awesome.
So what can you share with us about the series? Like, what are you most excited for fans to see or audiences to see?
I'm super excited for the fans to see just a completely different show, something that they're not used to. The vibe of the show is just completely unique, but it's super cool. It's hip, and it's a lot of fun, you know. So it's filled with a lot of heart. So just super excited for the fans to really get to know the show.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Young Love is based off of our Oscar-winning animated short Hair Love, and you know, the short didn't have any dialogue, so there were a lot of backstory things that we already knew were in the show. I mean, in the short film, but expanding that to a series was, you know, really challenging just because, you know, the short has got over 100 million views on YouTube. The book has sold almost like 2 million copies. So we have a big following, and you want to make sure that you're serving that audience, but also hopefully putting enough stuff in there that can get a new audience to it too. So, you know, for us, our show is different in that, what Mark said, in that in most animated series you see that are family based, typically the dad and the parents are like established, right? They're in their 40s, they're in their 50s, their kind of career is already going. Bob's Burgers, Simpsons, I think it shows like that. For us, you know, our family is in their mid-20s and they're coming off a health scare, and they haven't achieved their dreams yet, so they're still figuring it out. Like they may still pursue these career paths, or they may pivot. You know, you don't know. And on top of that, they also have a young daughter that they have to try to raise. So we felt that just even in that, there was a great jumping off point into bring it into a series. And on top of that, this is something that's kind of current now. You know, with rent and mortgages and all this other stuff being so high, it's also a multi-generational show. So they have to end up living in Angela, the mom's parents' brownstone. And so they literally, their grandparents are right above them, and then they're living right below them. And so we're kind of dealing with all these different generational things too, where you have 5 different characters. They all deal with a problem in a different way, kind of coming from their own experience, but also from just different personalities. So there's a lot of conflict in it, but it's also really funny, and it's really fun. You know, I think it's also very relatable. You know, we all can relate to being in our mid-20s and not having it all figured out and trying to figure things out. So it's got that energy.
Are you guys aware of the Sesame Street level of inclusiveness that this is going to have? Are you ready? Are you prepared for the responsibility of the stories that you're going to be telling for like all the generations that come? And
oh wow,
what that's going to do.
I mean, I don't. When you say it like that, no.
Oh damn, what did we do?
Right. No. When you say it like that, probably not. But you know, I think as long as you're in it in the moment, you know, being a storyteller is very like insulating. A lot of times you feel like you're just making something in a dark room, and you hope that people dig it. But the great thing about having a short that came before this is that we already had kind of worked out a lot of that stuff. Like the main inspiration for the short film was making sure that young kids who don't have representation in animation have a character like Zuri who's proud of their hair. As we were making it, seeing all these stories coming out of like kids being told they can't graduate if they have locks like we have, or if you're a cheerleader, you can't have braids like how you wear, or all these other different things. So we kind of already oddly have been a part of a bit of a social conversation with the Crown Act and all these other things. So, you know, for us, like, we just are showing these characters kind of living their lives, and cool thing about it is like just the way that they are naturally kind of helps become a different conversation, just because there are not a lot of shows out there that look like our shows. So, yeah.
I mean, we just wanted to make sure that it was authentic to us, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we wanted to make sure that we just made something that we would want to watch. You know, being a father, Matthew's a new father, and just, you know, we don't want we want our kids to watch certain things, but we want to be entertained as well. So just really finding that fine line, making sure that tone is just hitting and keeping it entertaining and still cool, you know. So yeah, that's the combination.
Well, as long as nobody's annoying as Caillou, I think we're gonna be good.
Yeah.
You said that a little bit.
A little bit. There you go.
Don't forget about Lil Bill.
There you
I
go.
remember a little bit.
A strength of hair love is how it shows how we have a lot of work to do with our initial ideals of love with our children, instilling self-esteem. So I was wondering, when I wrote my question, I was wondering, how do you think we should encourage our young girls to love themselves? Also, do adults need to work on themselves before they can share, build somebody up? Because I worked in the school, so it's hard when a kid has problems with themselves, and then as an adult, I can't just say, it'll be all right. I have to understand you better. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take the second question. I'll let you take the first. I just feel like, that's a big part of the short, like making sure that he listened. Like a big part of that was he was just trying to hurry up and get her out the house and put the hat on her. He wasn't really like taking the time to take a second and like listen to really why she wanted to have her hair done. And I think that's the big lesson that all adults have to work on constantly. Your kids are constantly evolving. You may have two kids, grew up in the same house, ate the same food, but they're different. So, you can't treat everything like it's a cookie cutter thing and, raise one kid one way and other kid the same way. Like, you have to be very open to learning and evolving and growing. Can't just expect them to, be the only person that's expected to learn something. You have to learn too.
Yeah, no, that's well said. And your question is exactly the conversation that we were having as we were developing the show, right? It's like you're still, being that they're so young, they're in their mid-20s, they need to figure out themselves, but they have this kid, so they don't really have the time to figure out themselves because they still have to raise Zuri, right? And so that is something that we really want to highlight in the shows because we haven't seen that before, right? And it's a universal thing being so young and trying to work things out and work through it. Sometimes you have successes, sometimes you have losses, but you still continue to fight and you still continue to take steps forward. So that's like the main theme of the show.
Yeah, it's like one step forward, two steps back.
Yeah.
So how far out do you have storylines plotted?
Well, the first season has 12 episodes, so we're excited about that. And then, the cool thing about this, like most shows, you really don't know if you're going to get renewed unless you come out and it does well. But, we've already been thinking about ideas, and there's some things that didn't make its way into the first season that we would probably carry over. But that's the great thing about like these family shows. It's like you have so many characters that you can just expand on. You can add new characters if you need to, but we have like 5 or 6 main characters that we definitely try to do our best job in establishing them. The show takes place about a couple months after the events of the short film, so they're coming back off this health scare. The mom is getting back into the workforce, also trying to find work places at home now. Missed a decent amount of time with her daughter, so you have that. Dad took some time off, so now he's trying to get back into the work as a music producer. So it's just there's a lot of places where we can go with it, and I think people really enjoy how we set it up in the first season.
Yeah, I definitely noticed in the short that we saw earlier.
The clip. Yep.
Yeah, the clip. The mother is having a little bit of trouble trying to come back and say, "All right, well, I'm doing your hair now. I'm a little bit better." And there's sort of a pushback because she's had so much experience with the father. So, would you think that that's sort of a theme or a through line of the season?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it is. Because Angela, I think the events take place 6 months after the health scare, and so the clip that you saw, Angela's doing Zuri's hair for the first time being back, and she was out of her rhythm, right? And so, that specifically kind of is a microcosm of the themes that we deal with. Angela trying to find her zone, but Steven trying to find his zone. Now he has the time, a little bit of time, since Angela can help raise Zuri with him. Now he has more time to pour into his music production and his career to pursue as a music producer. So yeah, that's definitely a microcosm on how the show's gonna go. Yeah. Great question. So I love those nails.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Are all y'all with the same? Copy that. Love that. That's interesting. I love it.
I just want to say thank you.
Hey man, maybe y'all can consider.
Teenage daughters.
Oh man.
Having to go through.
Oh yeah.
Growing up,
Appreciate y'all.
doing it.